This morning started like any other, but it quickly turned into something interesting. My wife and I had a minor disagreement before heading off to work, something small, but you know how it is, the little things can sometimes blow up. We were both frustrated, giving each other those silent, icy stares. From my expression, it was clear I wasn't planning on speaking to her anytime soon. She picked up on that immediately, and it seemed like she was just as ready to play that silent game. So, we left the house in silence, not a single word exchanged. We don't own a car, so we always take the bus to work together. It's a routine, we sit side by side, and even on bad days, that little ritual brings us closer. But not today. Oh no, today was different. I was supposed to drop at Garaha Hill and she at Lar, but as we boarded the bus, I broke tradition. Instead of sitting next to her, I went straight to the back. She took a seat up front, next to a well-dressed police officer. He seemed like the kind of guy who's used to getting attention, and today, my wife caught his eye. I watched as he glanced at her, first at her hair, then at her face. Then, he smiled and complimented her, saying, "You look beautiful." And to my surprise, or maybe not, my wife smiled back and thanked him. Their conversation continued, and I couldn't help but listen in. "Where are you heading?" the officer asked. She told him she was going to work. "My name is Mwansa Mwimba," he said confidently. "I'm a police officer, as you can see. I just got posted to Calais a month ago and I'm heading to my station." My wife nodded politely, keeping the conversation light. Then the bus conductor asked her for the fare, and before she could reach for her purse, the officer pulled out a K50 and paid for both of them. "Two," he said, looking pleased with himself. Now, I had a front row seat to this little exchange from the back of the bus. The officer leaned in closer, smiling as he said, "I'm getting off at Yola. I live at Chelston Police Camp. Maybe you can stop by one day to say hi. Can I get your number?" That was it. I had heard enough. Without hesitation, I tapped my wife's shoulder from behind. She turned around, looking surprised. "Did you remember to put a spoon in Kasuba's lunchbox today?" I asked, loud enough for the officer to hear. My wife blinked, completely puzzled. I didn't wait for her to respond before adding, "You know you always forget. And please, pick her up early from school today. I'll be home late. Oh, and make sure to prepare Ifingibula for dinner." Now she was really confused, who was Kasuba? But then she looked at the officer and realized what I was doing. She played along like a pro. "Yes, honey," she replied with a knowing smile. The officer glanced over, finally noticing me. "Is that your husband?" he asked her, his tone a little more reserved. She nodded, and the man quickly turned back around. I could see the wheels turning in his head, and his smile had faded completely. I didn't smile either. When we reached River Park Estate, I got off the bus, and this time, I pulled my wife along with me. As soon as we were off the bus, she burst into laughter. She could barely contain herself as she asked, "Honey, who's Kasuba?" "She's our future daughter," I replied with a grin. "Now come on, let's catch the next bus." We boarded another bus, sitting side by side this time. And this time, I paid for her fare. When you give your partner distance, both emotionally and physically, you let the devil occupy that space. He takes your position without your permission and builds a home for himself in your place. Don't let the devil have a place in your home. Cover all grounds. Make your presence known. May God bless our marriage and relationship.